Are the defending national champions up to the task? Mark Rogers TV, always talking college football. We're stuck in the ACC in our recent schedule rankings as we make our way through the 20s. So here on Mark Rogers TV, we're ranking all the schedules in Power 5 and major independent play. That's 68 teams, so 68 all the way up to number 1. We have arrived at schedule number 26 after we just knocked out BC at 27 and Wake Forest at 28. It belongs to the national champion Clemson Tigers. All right, Clemson's schedule, pretty darn difficult considering that they play two Power 5 teams. So there are more teams across the nation now scheduling two Power 5 opponents out of their 3 or 4 non-conference games than ever before. But there are still a number of teams only scheduling one. So Clemson is one of those probably half of college football that is scheduling two Power 5s, and they're scheduling one very difficult one and one decent one. Of course, they've got the season-ending Palmetto Series shootout with South Carolina. That's on the road. South Carolina, after a 6-7 campaign, looks to be pretty decent, number 32 according to the ESPN Power Index. And then early in the season, Clemson has the return date from Auburn. Of course, the Tigers went on the Plains and beat War Eagle last year in a pretty solid defensive struggle on the Plains September 9th. They get the return visit from Auburn, who's rated in the top 5 according to the ESPN Power Index, and around number 12 in the nation in the preseason coaches poll. So this is why Clemson's schedule is 6th in the ACC and number 26 in college football. Okay, we look at the division, which is extremely tough, but one of the reasons it's that tough is because Clemson's in it, so they don't have to play themselves, but they do have to deal with Florida State. That game should decide the ACC and certainly that division on November 11th. That game at home, third to the last game of the season. They also have to tangle with Louisville and NC State, and then they've got the 3 lesser teams in division play, BC, Wake, and Syracuse. Okay, out of division, Clemson doesn't have to deal with, let's say, Miami or North Carolina in particular. They, of course, lost to Pitt. Their only letdown last year, 43-42. This year out of division, it's Georgia Tech. That's the traditional rivalry in the non-division play in the ACC, and that date is October 28th. And Clemson's other game is against Virginia Tech. All right. The out-of-conference, again, we mentioned Auburn at home September 9th and concluding the season at South Carolina November 25th. The other non-conference games for Clemson, the opener against Kent State, team number 115 in the ESPN Power Index out of 128. And then there is also a date against Citadel. That's on November 18th to get ready for the shootout with South Carolina to end the season. 2 difficult stretches for Clemson. A back-to-back with Auburn and Louisville early in the season, weeks 2 and 3, and then also a 3-game stretch against Georgia Tech, North Carolina State on the road, and Florida State, the big one, in Clemson, November 11th. Number 6 schedule in the ACC. It's the 26th most difficult out of 68 in college football, and let's discuss it right here on Mark Rogers TV.